I would have loved it if Manchester United had gone in and hijacked that deal. I would have loved it. Because Viktor Gyökeres is a genius signing for Arsenal. It's a potentially game-changing signing for Arsenal. And we're going to talk about that. But yes, it's taken its time. There was rumours of Manchester United hijacking. And as a Manchester United fan, I did say on my channel, we're not hijacking this deal because Viktor Gyökeres has made it very clear he only wants Arsenal. I would have loved for that to happen. But nope, Viktor Gyökeres is Arsenal. Here we go. And I have to say, I can tell why Sporting did not want to sell him for that price, because all I'm saying is that's £55 million plus 10 million euros in add-ons. 55 million. So Sporting, here we go, Viktor Gyökeres, Sporting, Arsenal, agreement in place between all parties, says Romano. But Sporting accept the last bid from Arsenal, which was 63.5 plus 10. The agent will reduce his commission. Gyökeres will sign a 5-year deal. He only wants Arsenal. He's made that clear. The first green flag for Arsenal is the player literally made it clear he only wants Arsenal. The second green flag for Arsenal is they've got their man in for pre-season, and now all they've got to do left is get that winger, that left-sided player. But Sporting have accepted the last bid from Arsenal. 63.5. That's £55 million base fee. In this market, he was only a couple million more than Madueke Gyökeres. Gyökeres has gone for the same price as Gittins, the same price as Alanga, and the same price as Kudus in this market. I can see why Sporting did not want to sell him for this price. So well done to Berta. Berta has pulled off a magical blinder at Arsenal. That's a very good signing for Arsenal. So in today's video, we're going to break down what the Gyökeres deal really tells us about Arsenal and their future, why this is a genius deal, and what Arteta could secretly be planning, because Gyökeres isn't the perfect fit for Arsenal's attack, because he likes to run the channels, he likes space, he likes elements of transition, which is what Arsenal doesn't do. But if we look at Madueke, we look at potentially Eze, and we look at Gyökeres, and the profiles that Arteta was looking to bring into Arsenal's attack, we're starting to get an idea of how Arsenal were trying to be more unpredictable and change the way they attack next season to potentially score more goals, and why this could be a very good signing. So we're actually going to talk about maybe the plan to get the best out of Gyökeres in this video and what this deal tells us about Arsenal. So let's get into it, but let me know your thoughts down below. If you do enjoy this bit of content, feel free to subscribe. I will be covering pre-season games and match reactions throughout the season. And yeah, Arsenal have finally secured the signing of Gyökeres. This is, in my opinion, what I believe to be the first proper number 9 under Arteta. You signed Jesus, but he was never an out-and-out 9. He's a flexible guy. And then you signed Havertz, whose sort of best position is just behind the 9, but he's not a 10, and he's done very well as a 9 at Arsenal. But I feel like you haven't had a top-level number 9 since Aubameyang at Arsenal, and you've lacked that. You've come second a lot, and a top number 9 can be the difference becoming second and first, because a top number 9 can turn those draws where you've got a lot of control and you're dominating the game, but you can't win the game, you end up drawing it. They can turn those draws into wins. And Arsenal, draws have been a bit of a downfall of Arsenal. So a number 9 probably is something that Arsenal have massively needed for a while. And I think Gyökeres coming in the squad before pre-season is key. Gyökeres making it clear he wants Arsenal as a green flag. But Arsenal finally have their 9. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about why this is good for Arsenal. Let's talk about why this is amazing. So Arsenal looked at Sesko, but Sesko is raw. I think he's got good potential, but he's raw, and he's probably a better long-term fit. But Arsenal need ready now. They need ready to make an impact now. You've struggled without a natural striker the last season because Havertz was out injured. You've struggled. You've needed a striker big time. Gyökeres is what I call a pure striker. Powerful, direct, efficient. He is someone that finishes chances, makes chances out of nothing for himself, is powerful, is direct, likes to score, is hungry, is box hungry, is physical. He's somebody that likes to score goals. He's somebody that's hungry. He's somebody that would cut his own wages to go to Arsenal and get his dream move. He's hungry. He's not greedy. He's got a lot of green flags. And it finally gives Arsenal and Arteta a different profile. It finally gives them an out-and-out, focal point goal threat, physical player with elite movement. Now, I think Kai Havertz's movement is quite good, but Gyökeres' movement to draw out players and potentially open up space for the likes of Saka, Odegaard, Madueke, Eze, if he comes in with his movement, will also be a very underrated part of his game that you will see next season. But Arsenal have lacked that presence to turn control into goals. If you look at the PSG game, you look at the chances you create versus PSG, you couldn't win that game. You couldn't turn those control and chances into goals. Gyökeres is the type of player to do that. That is what stopped Arsenal winning at games is not having that number 9, not having that elite number 9, arguably a left winger as well. Arsenal looked at Mosquera, good deal. Subamende, good deal. Norgard, good deal. Madueke, very good bench depth option for Saka. If Saka gets injured, you've got a very good option there. But none of those are signings that were going to game change Arsenal. Subamende is probably a brilliant deal. But Gyökeres is that signing that's going to change Arsenal. He's that first signing that Arsenal brought in now that changes them. And the second one will be Eze. And we're going to talk about the plan in a second. But he's going to help. But Arteta will have to adapt. He will have to adapt with Gyökeres in. But first of all, what does this deal tell us about Arsenal then? What does this deal really tell us about Arsenal? So Arsenal are preparing for the next phase of their project. Arsenal need to build a team that can win ugly. Not just dominate games. Arsenal have dominated a lot of games and not been able to win it. And Arsenal very rarely win ugly, whereas Liverpool last game had some games where they played shy. I mean, the Southampton game, Liverpool poor, and then Mohamed Salah goes and woo, do you know what I mean? And does Mohamed Salah stuff and wins it when Liverpool could be 2-0 down. They could win again 3-2. Arsenal, they could be 1-0 up, it's 1-0, and it always felt like it was just going to stay 1-0 because the other team would park the bus and Arsenal couldn't get that goal. They couldn't win ugly. They couldn't turn draws and control into wins. So they needed a striker and a left wing to do that. And Gyökeres, is addressing their biggest flaw. But what is big about this is they've got to go and sign that left winger. They're looking at Eze. There's a feeling they're going to sign Eze. Personal terms won't be an issue. Eze's turning down other clubs waiting for Arsenal. They can put all their focus into the final deal that needs to be done in Eze. I think Rodrigo won't happen now. But Arteta is now sorted out his defensive balance, sorted out his midfield. Arteta loves defenders. Arteta loves midfielders. We take the mick out of it a bit. But he's sorted out his defensive midfield. Cool. But what he needs is the final bit, and that's attacking firepower. And he's got one of the two signings he needs to turn Arsenal into a title-winning side. The defence is nailed. Arsenal, for me, have the best defence in the league, probably the best defence in the world, and the best out-of-possession structure in the world, because statistically, the underlying numbers sort of prove this. Out-of-possession, defensively, Arsenal, brilliant. In the first and second phase of build-up, Arsenal are arguably one of the best teams in the world. But when it comes to the final third, Arsenal have significantly lacked. And this deal shows that they're now trying to find a solution for this. They now want to compete with City, Liverpool in that title race. And now they don't have an excuse not to. Do you know what I mean? So we look at Gyökeres. 54 goals, 13 assists. They're elite numbers. This is telling us Arsenal are ready to fix their attack. Arsenal are ready to find the solutions. Arsenal are ready to challenge. This is a guy that has excellent hold-up play, ball carrying ability, one of the best strikers in Europe at running the channels. Now, this isn't really how Arsenal play. A lot of Gyökeres' strengths and a lot of the ways to get the best out of Gyökeres isn't how Arsenal play right now. Which says to me, if you spend that much money on Gyökeres, which actually isn't that much compared to the market right now, but if you're bringing a number 9 like Gyökeres, and if you're looking to spend this kind of money on Gyökeres, it's because you've got a plan to maybe adapt. You adapt how you attack, change how you adapt. And I'm assuming Viktor Gyökeres is a big part of that. So as I said, good in duels, good presser, runs. He's an elite presser, elite runner. His off-the-ball movement is great. His hold-up is decent. He's an unbelievable ball carrier, but his best thing is running the channels, movement, being in the right place at the right time, scoring goals. And one thing he's really good at, and I think this will be an underrated attribute, is creating separation from the defender. He can get the ball, and he can create separation and get a shot off. Shot volume is so important because Arsenal have a lot of the ball, and there's no goals for it. Madueke is a player with high shot volume, high take on success rate, high shot volume. Eze, high take on success rate, high shot volume. Gyökeres, high shot volume. Arsenal are bringing in 3 players, believably, if they get Eze in, to fix their attack that are high shot takers, people that take risks. And Arsenal, I felt that they were too passive. Odegaard, particularly, was too passive, was too safe. He didn't take risks. Arsenal are bringing in the much needed risk takers, which is what they need. And with Gyökeres, he's capable of creating, finishing, adding unpredictability, but he takes risks. He gets shots off. He finds a way to get a shot off. He finds a way to make things happen. Where sometimes Arsenal have almost been too well drilled and too well robotic to do that. He's a good finisher, and Arsenal need game winners. They need players that take risks. That is something they've massively lacked compared to the Liverpools, compared to the Cities. And Gyökeres brings that. So how does he change Arsenal's attack? What is Arteta planning? That's probably what you want to know. So as I said, brings variety, vertical threat to Arsenal's patient build-up, allows Arsenal to be more transitional, allows Arsenal to attack in different ways, which is a good thing because Arsenal were very predictable. You play a low block against Arsenal, all of a sudden they can't break you down, you get a draw. Physicality, box presence, vital in those games. You give them a chance, he'll score. The PSG game, you had the chances, you couldn't put it in the back of the net. Someone like Gyökeres could put some of those chances in the back of the net. He will demand defenders' attention, which is going to open up space for Saka, Odegaard. It will allow a bit more freedom. His movement will be good. And he's very direct. And he can exploit moments. And he can add transition threat, which is something Arsenal haven't had. And he's a clinical finisher. But the big thing is the tactical challenges with Viktor Gyökeres. He thrives in transition and space. He's not going to get the space he got in the Portuguese league over in the Premier League, particularly playing for Arsenal, who probably come up against severe low blocks. He's not going to get that space, and he's not going to get the ability to run the channel like he usually would. Now, if you look at Gyökeres' time at Coventry, big green flag. He shows he's capable of playing even if he's not been given much space. But what Arteta might need to do is adapt his rigid possession structure and bring in a left wing or a left attacking midfielder that can come in centrally or draw out defenders to potentially open up space in the channels for Gyökeres, which is what Gyökeres thrives at. Eze is someone that plays on the left but likes to come central, and because Eze is such a threat, he's going to draw a defender with him, and that could be one defender less in the channels, and Gyökeres could go out in wider positions, particularly on the left, which is what Gyökeres prefers to do, and get the ball in those left channels, and he will have a bit of space there to do what he does best. And that's why Eze or Xavi Simons is the ideal profile for Arsenal, because they can play left wing, or Madueke can play left wing, and they can play as the number 10 or as the left number 8. Eze's got the ability to get in the half space on the left-hand side, Eze or Xavi Simons, to draw out defenders and allow Gyökeres to run the channels on the left and get the best out of Viktor Gyökeres. That is what Arsenal need. And I believe with signing Viktor Gyökeres, you will look to sign an Eze or Xavi Simons type player because it makes sense. It doesn't quite make sense with Subamende, Rice, Odegaard just yet, but Eze makes it make sense because all of a sudden you can change the way you attack. You could see more use of the inside channels. You could see more use of quick switches. And I think, Gyökeres will do well against higher lines. He could struggle against low blocks. But all of a sudden, Arsenal need to think about unlocking that space for Gyökeres. And that's where someone like Eze would come in. And Arsenal were targeting Eze. I believe personal terms won't be an issue. They'll get the deal done, but they may have to wait on a sale of someone like Trossard to get this deal over the line, so it could drag on. But Eze is seen as the key to unlocking Gyökeres. Eze is an elite ball carrier who thrives in tight space, who can draw out defenders because he's a dangerous player with his shot and dribbling ability. Defenders will have to mark him tightly, which can open up space for Gyökeres. Eze is able to link midfield to attack. He's able to help progress the ball into Gyökeres and progress the ball quicker into Gyökeres. So when Arsenal have an opportunity to attack, Eze could progress the ball quickly into Gyökeres before the opposition has a chance to get back into an organised shape. He offers unpredictability, he offers dribbling, he offers something Arsenal lacked last season, and Eze can float wide, he can come in central, and he can help disorganise defences with his unpredictability, with his danger, and he would allow Gyökeres to make more aggressive movements because Eze has the ability to find those passes to find Gyökeres. If you look at Eze, high shot rate, high take-on volume, danger player, he's what Arsenal need. And when you bring in someone like Gyökeres, you need to bring in someone like Eze that can play just behind him. You look at Sporting, Trincao often played right behind Gyökeres. If you look at the way Sporting play, they like to have someone behind Gyökeres that would come central and be a second striker. And maybe that's something that Arteta needs to consider. Could Eze not necessarily be a second striker, but a left advanced number 10? And I think Arteta is planning something. I was thinking about Arteta and what is his attacking project? Because there's Madueke, Eze, it looks like, if they bring him in, and it looks like that will happen, and Gyökeres now. What is Arteta's secret new attacking project? Madueke, Subamendi's in the midfield. Gyökeres is the big signings they brought in. They're building depth, they're building versatility, they're building unpredictability. We can see building depth with Norgard, Mosquera. I think Madueke is elite depth for Saka. But I think Arteta is starting to go into a new attacking plan. A new attacking plan which could involve more fluid shapes in attack, could involve more 1v1 threats, more finishers, more shot volume, more risk takers. I feel like Arteta doesn't just want control, but he's realised he needs to add chaos, creativity, and directness in attack. And I feel like he's building a team that's ready for a 60-game season for the depth, but he's also building a team that's going to bring that directness, is going to bring that chaos, that creativity that Arsenal have desperately needed in attack. I feel like Arteta's finally woken up to what the issues will be. And look, Viktor Gyökeres, his numbers won't be the same in the Premier League. His numbers are insane, but he's not going to get them in the Premier League. But if Mourinho got 7 goals in the league last season, in the second half of last season, from playing at striker, if a centre mid is scoring 7 goals at striker, as a makeshift striker in half a season, that would be 14 across a season if Mourinho played striker all season. Viktor Gyökeres is more than capable of getting 20 goals at Arsenal, and he's more than capable of being a very good season, a very good player at Arsenal. And I honestly think Arteta was planning something big in attack. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.